Good day to you. My name is Peter Jordan, and in this video, I want to talk to you about the recognition of sexual abuse, molestation, or rape in children, or teenagers, or even adults. Okay? Now, I focused this one, or this particular section, on the recognition of that as you as the parent or you as the outsider looking in and seeing this, okay? But there's the other side of this that I also want you to see. I'm going to talk to it from the side of the recognition, but I want you to look at those of you that this was not reported, and this is something that you carried with you. I want you to look at it from the point of view is that if there were people around that could spot this on you, then it would have helped you in so many ways. But because it is that you had or you were surrounded by people who did not know and who didn't have the skills to know that something had happened to you. Okay. And to see it from that point of view, but you fundamentally changed in the way that you operated, in the way that you worked. There was a fundamental change in you, and people didn't pick it up. And because they didn't pick it up, it is that you developed a distrust in those around you that should have been there to protect you, to look after you. And they simply weren't there, and they weren't able to do that for you. So this is like I won't say a double-edged sword, but there's two sides to this thing for you to look at and to learn from. Okay. So as a parent, knowing or suspecting that your child is being sexually abused can be incredibly traumatic, and it is for any parent to go through. It can be difficult to know how to begin to do something about it. We understand that reporting your concerns is not easy, particularly when the abuser is someone that you know and trust and trusted. However, to protect your child, it is vital that you speak out and you address this situation. It's imperative that you do that. Sexual abuse is currently underreported, but we know from our work with children that it is crucial that they have a chance to seek any help and support they may need. Coping with sexual abuse alone or bearing the problem doesn't help. And in some cases, or even ignoring the problem doesn't help. Or even saying, don't worry, you'll get over it. You don't get over this kind of thing. You just bury it and it comes out later. In some cases, it can also mean children are left in abusive situations. When you report abuse, professionals that you speak to, including those who work for child support services or child care services or social services and the police, will be experienced at helping children who have been sexually abused. It's the best thing that you can do for them. They will understand how difficult it has been for you to do this on it. And so they can also support you. Okay, and thing. The purpose of this guide is to provide you with answers and to some of your questions you may have. It draws on our interaction in working with child support services and our experiences in working with families to rebuild relationships and keep children safe from sexual abuse. As this is an international site, you will also find details of support services that can help you and your child on this website, or that you can look around for other websites. And all you need to do is type in sexual abuse support for children on Google, and invariably you will come up to the right sites in your particular area. Some parents and young people who are recovering from sexual abuse have helped us by sharing their stories and advice for this website and approach. All names have been changed to protect their identities with their agreement. So all the way through, I'm going to be referring to various people's names, and none of these names are connected to that particular child in any way. Okay? So, spotting the signs, working out what is going on, especially if your child won't talk or is too young to communicate what is happening, can be very difficult. The signs of sexual abuse are not always easy to spot. Is this sexual abuse, or defining sexual abuse? Sexual abuse happens when a child or a young person is forced or enticed to take part in sexual activities. No matter the level of violence, and regardless of the child's awareness or agreement to what is happening, it is sexual abuse. It may involve physical contact, such as touching the child's genitals or private parts of the abusers for the abuser's sexual pleasure, making a child touch somebody else's genitals, playing sexual games, or having sex by putting objects or body parts inside the mouth or the anus or the vagina of a child. Sexual abuse also includes things that don't involve contact, such as showing child pornography, encouraging a child to take part in the making of sexual images, watching sexual acts, or encouraging children to behave in sexually inappropriate ways. Abuse can take place in person or online, and this is a big problem today, okay? And especially things like Facebook, where it is that you get the predators that make the contact with the children online, and they feed them slowly on there. In the next video, I talk about the perpetrators and what it is that the perpetrators actually do. So abuse can take place in person or online. Through the internet-based technology or a website that your child uses. Abusers might blackmail a child into sharing information. They may also spend time building up a relationship with a child, with a view to abusing them at some stage. This is known as grooming and is also a crime. Sadly, children of all ages, including very young children and children of all abilities, can be abused. Disabled children are more vulnerable, which may be because they are dependent on adults, and in some cases have less awareness of what is happening, or can't easily tell others what has happened. If you are worried, it is important that you seek professional advice, if you haven't already. If you are not sure what is happening or what to do, contact your nearest child support service. Please look for the websites where child support services are near you. They generally have trained counselors who can offer expert help, advice, and support 24/7. You can call the police. You can see the website page on this website for a number to contact them when reporting abuse. Now, because this site has become international, this is one of those difficult things for us to put every country's numbers on there. So that's why we say go and search for the child support services in your particular country on that. So thank you for your thing. What are the signs that I might see in my child? Changes in your child's behavior may be the first indicator that something is wrong. All children are different, and they should be, and each behave in their own particular way, okay, or in some kind of different way. But you may have noticed that something has suddenly changed. Children can show signs of sexual behavior from preschool age right up to the teenage years. Many are normal and healthy, but some signs may give you cause for alarm. Children with learning abilities may vary in their development, and you may need expert advice for your concerns. Consider whether their behavior is age appropriate. In the videos to come, I will discuss what is age-related behavior for each particular age from year 1 to year 16. So you can go through and have a look at that and listen to that and see what is normal. And please adjust for each child, because each child that is 10 doesn't mean to say that every child who's 10 behaves exactly the same way. Some kids that are 10 are actually behaving as though they are 12, and some kids that are 10 actually behaving the way that they are 8 on there. So please make the adjustments. As a general rule, preschool children, this is up to the age 5, should not be talking about sexual acts or using sexually explicit language or having physical sexual contact with other children or showing adult-like sexual behavior or knowledge. School-age children, this is 6 to 12 years, should not be masturbating in public or showing adult-like sexual behavior or knowledge. Adolescents, this is from the age 13 to the age 16 or onwards, should not be masturbating in public or having sexual contact with much younger children or older adults. At any age, certain changes in behavior can indicate that there is a problem, such as having nightmares or having sleeping problems, becoming withdrawn or becoming very clingy, changes in their personality, such as they might seem insecure, outbursts of anger, using toys or other objects in a sexual way, sudden changes in their eating habits, showing an inexplicable fear of places or of people or of particular people, going back to younger behaviors such as thumb sucking or bedwetting, becoming secretive and reluctant to share things with you. This is a big one. Becoming secretive and reluctant to share things with you. In isolation, Setbacks like this or these might seem like part of your child's normal development. But if you see your child behaving in more than one of these ways, it may be a sign that something is up, something is wrong. You should seek help or advice. You must seek medical advice immediately if you see physical signs such as unexplained soreness, redness, or bruises around any of the child's genitals, and symptoms of sexually transmitted infections. These are the two big things for you to look out for. Example, things to look out for. I've noticed certain things about a person that's close to my child. Could they be an abuser? Unfortunately, abusers look like any other person and may be either male or female. They are often someone who is close to your family and to your child. Could be a parent or a parent's partner, a friend or a relative, or a trusted person, such as a babysitter or even a club leader. Knowing the difference between a close relationship and an inappropriate one can be difficult, particularly if they've gained your trust. Sexual abusers may build a relationship with you over a long period of time in order to build trust for you to allow them to be close to your children. Don't be afraid to trust your instincts. Remember, if you get an intuitive feeling that something is amiss, follow that feeling. Don't take it for granted or don't think that it's silly. If you get an intuitive feeling that something is up, follow it. Do something about it. Rather make the mistake than keep quiet. You might be worried. If another person refuses to allow your child sufficient privacy or to make their own decisions on personal matters, displays physical affection such as kissing, hugging, or wrestling, even when the child clearly does not want it. Takes too much interest in the sexual development of your child or teenager. Wants time alone with your child with no interruption. Wants to spend most of their spare time with your child or has little interest in spending time with people of their own age. Regularly offers to babysit the children for free or to take children on overnight outings alone. Buys your children expensive gifts or gives them money for no apparent reason. Frequently walks in on your children or teenagers in the bathroom. Treats a particular child as a favorite, making them feel special. As their parent, your children depend on you for safety, and you have every right to address any suspicions you have. It is your right, and please follow it. You can always contact the Child Support Service to talk to someone, even if you are not certain whether the relationship is inappropriate. They have trained helpline counselors that can talk you through your worries and help you to take the appropriate action. Generally, the helpline counselors are quite good, and there are a lot of volunteers of people that do it as their contribution to society. And it is they've been exposed to a lot of this, so they'll be able to help you on things. Relationships between peers. It is increasingly recognized that sexual abuse can and does take place between peers. Sometimes, when they are in a relationship, the age of sexual consent, including the same-sex relationships, is 16, and this is in most countries, not in all countries. So in your particular country, please make sure what is the age of consensual sex, okay? However, we know adolescents begin to experiment sexually with those of similar age before then and can be at risk of pressure from peers to pursue this further. When there is a big age difference in an adolescent relationship, this is a particular issue. Sometimes young people's relationships may start off normally, but become abusive when one partner starts controlling the other, or forcing or persuading him or her to do things that they don't want to do. Encourage your child to wait until they are mature enough to have a sexual relationship and help them to recognize the signs of abuse. These are the things that we've highlighted previously. You can find more guidance on talking to your child about sex and on peer sexual abuse on our website. Why might my child be unwilling to tell me about being sexually abused? There are many reasons why children don't talk about sexual abuse. Young children sometimes don't know how to tell you what is happening, and older children may have reasons such as being afraid to speak. It is imperative that you develop a trusting relationship between you and your children, and always encourage them to come and talk to you no matter what. But that kind of relationship requires effort from you as the parent to put into the child for them to feel safe enough to be able to talk to you when it is that something has happened. Sadly, 3/4 of children who are abused do not tell anyone about it, and many keep their secret all or most of their lives. Many come out with it in their mid-20s and 30s, where it is that this secret has come out, and then it is they are willing to talk about it. But many of them don't know the impact that this has had on their life. So it would be really important. Let them listen to these videos. Let them look at them, okay? At least they're getting good, sound, understanding advice on things. In 2000, a study was conducted in the UK, which revealed that the children interviewed explained the reasons that they felt unable to tell. And some of these included: number 1, it was nobody else's business. Number 2, I didn't think it was serious or wrong. Number 3, didn't want parents to find out. Number 4, didn't want parents to know or to think that I've been bad or naughty. Didn't want the authorities to find out. I was frightened. I didn't think I would be believed. This is a big one. I didn't think I would be believed, because it is often the person that does the abuse is somebody that is close to the parents, or somebody that has interacted with the parents, or somebody that is a family friend that has done this. And then the child will say, but so and so did this to me, and the parents will look at it and say, I don't believe it. A child normally doesn't make this stuff up. Okay, only thing. If your child's got a history of making stuff up, then fair enough. Okay, but children, then generally, when it comes to something like this, they don't make it up. They have great difficulty in speaking. Please help them to speak. Okay. The other one is that they have been threatened by the abuser to keep it a secret. Now, secrets are something that eats away at people. And it eats, and it eats, and it eats. And as it eats, it starts to affect your behavior. It starts to affect you in many different kinds of ways. If you've been subject to that about having to hold a secret, get it out. Speak about it to somebody that knows how to handle it. It is really, really important. And if that has happened, then it's really important for you to find somebody to help you. So, what does a parent do if your child tells you about sexual abuse? How should I react if my child tells me that I have been sexually abused? The abuser was like part of our family, and we're a close family. He was almost like another son for my mom. At first, she asked me if I was sure. But of course, 9-year-old boys don't make this sort of thing up. So she knew I was telling the truth, said Jake, who was abused from the age 6 by his teenage babysitter. Managing your reaction when facing something as upsetting as this is difficult. Believe you me, it is very difficult. Hearing something like this will naturally leave you feeling shocked and very distressed. You may find what you are told is difficult to believe. It is important that you not react in a way that might add to your child's distress. Please swallow it, hold it, do it, whatever you can. Be in a supportive role to your child. You need to believe your child and act upon the information that has been given to you. They are looking to you for help. Tell your child that he or she has done the right thing in telling you. Be careful not to give your child the impression that you blame them for this kind of behavior, especially if the abuse occurred because he or she disobeyed your instructions. For example, going out without your permission. Find a way to let them know that you are really glad that they have told you and how difficult it must have been for them to deal with it on their own, and that they are now there, and that you are now there to help them. You may also need to hear that they may also need to hear that you love them. And it's not may, they definitely want to hear that you love them and that you support them and that you will be there for them. So this is a story from Hannah. Sometimes you keep it a secret for so long that you are scared of what will happen and what people's reactions will be. My advice to parents would be to believe their child and listen to what they're saying. That was something I was really afraid of, that no one would believe me. But knowing my parents did it make it a whole lot easier. Sorry, let me do that again. But knowing my parents did make it a whole lot easier, said Hannah, who was abused by a trusted family member. You see the relationship with the parent. Okay, it is paramount that you develop this trusting relationship with your kids and tell them that it is no matter what, they must come and talk to you about something that's really bothering them. This often happens with adults in that they have held the secret for so long that it almost feels normal. This behavior starts to permeate in their personal romantic relationships, and they too become scared to tell their partners of what happened and the impact on them for fear of not knowing what the reaction of their partner will be. This is the negative side of somebody holding a secret. It will come out. It will permeate somewhere later on in life. If you've been, and I'm talking to a teenager or a young child, if you have been sexually abused in some way and there's a secret, please go and speak to somebody that you know and trust that can help you. It's really, really important. If this is you, do tell your partner, but also go for professional help and tell your partner that you are going to go for professional help. This is where we step in and we can offer a deep healing service. We also work with teenagers from 15 onwards, or they can work through this body of work. Okay, it's a good idea to point them in there and let them work through all of this. And then at the end, once they work through all of this, they can then go to somebody and say, this is what I've done, this is what I've learned, this is the part that I still need some help with or something. Okay, really important. Sometimes children don't tell or wait to tell parents about abuse. It might leave you struggling to understand why they didn't feel they could share it with you. Children or teenagers can end up feeling like they are somehow responsible for this event. Perhaps because they took part in sexual images of some sort, or that they led the relationship, or they allowed the relationship to go, and things got out of hand, and that they themselves would get into trouble. The more you try to understand the pressures they were under, the easier it will be for you to offer the right support. From those children that are looking at this and understand this, and that things get out of hand, it does happen. Okay, on the thing. When it got out of hand, then you got yourself deeper into the situation than what you had even thought or planned about. Okay, on thing. Go and then sort it out with somebody. Go and speak to somebody, or follow this thread through and look at it and learn from it. And when you've been through all of it, go then and talk to somebody. So this is a story from Lucy. If they want to talk about the ordeal, they will, but they need support and don't need to be pushed or punished or questioned about it. As for some, it takes time before they are ready to speak about it, said Lucy, who was abused by a person who was close to her family. For me, she says, one of the hardest things was having 3 children affected by it. I had to try to be strong and make them understand that I did believe them. Support your children, but don't push them for information about what happened. Work at your child's pace. Let them know that you are there for them and that you love them and that you care for them. This is crucial in maintaining their trust with you. When they are ready to speak, they will. When they are ready to speak, they will. And please know that they can come to you. Ask them if they need counseling and support them through it in such a way that they feel comfortable with you and that they feel comfortable with it. And this comes from Lucy's mum. The abuser is somebody I know. Do I confront them? Do not confront the abuser yourself. It may put you or your child in an unsafe situation, or give the person an opportunity to cover up the abuse. Rather, report the issue and get help. And here we say report the issue to the police or report the issue to some support unit, a social service unit or something, okay? It is unfortunate fact that sexual abuse is often committed by someone the child knows. If the abuser is a relative or someone that you thought you could trust, it can leave you with a very powerful and conflicting emotions about the abuse. Make sure you have expert support to help you to cope with these feelings. You can find contact details of child support services in your country. The next area I'd like to address is, should I report it? It's hard to make the decision to report sexual abuse. You may have many fears that are stopping you. However, you must still get professional advice to protect your child. You may also need to support yourself. Look at the child support services near you and find them and get in contact. The most important action to take now is to make sure that the sexual abuse stops immediately. Get professional advice about protecting your child by contacting the child support service or contacting the police or both, or contacting your local social services or welfare. Remember, although your first concern may be to stop the abuser harming your child, by reporting the abuser, your actions will help to protect other children as well. So it's not only your child, it is other children as well. Report them, and then those people have got the skills and understanding about what to do and how to address this and to move on. Okay? The next section is moving forward after the abuse has happened. What can I do to help my child now? You might be thinking about what, as a parent, you can do for your child when any kind of resolution seems a long way off. Finding support for yourself can give you the strength to be there for your child. Local services such as your family doctor, school nurse, perhaps a health visitor, or a designated child protection teacher may know of local organizations that offer specialist help. You can also contact the national organizations listed on the websites of Child Support Services. This is a story from Terry. I got really anxious, waiting and worrying about my daughter. Things seemed to be moving very slowly, so I called the Child Support Service to see if there was anything else I could do. I had already stopped the contact between my daughter and her father before she told me about the abuse. I was at the end of my tether because I really didn't know what to do or how to help my daughter move on. She was only 5 years old. When I called and talked it through to the helpline counselor, he pointed out that I shouldn't blame myself for what had happened. And this is so true. You shouldn't blame yourself, because if you knew that it was going to happen, you would have done something. But you didn't know. And what's more, you didn't know that you didn't know on things. So it's really important that you don't criticize and take the blame on yourself, and that it is not your fault. He showed me there was something that I could do now by trying to be there for my daughter. He gave me ideas of how to support her and where to go for help and who to speak to, said Terry, whose daughter was abused by her father. So that takes us to the next stage. Does my child need therapy? The level of distress a child suffers depends on how long they were abused for and how often it happened, their relationship to the abuser, and whether they were believed when they spoke out. Without the right help, sexually abused children could develop mental health problems lasting into adulthood. Sexual abuse can damage children emotionally, psychologically, and children could become sick from it. Many survivors suffer from different forms of depression or dis-ease from this event or events. Sexually abused children may act out through violence or withdraw themselves. In some cases, they may self-harm themselves or even become suicidal. But with the right help and support, children can make a good recovery. If we can help in this matter, we will, with pleasure. We know the things that really help children recover, including being believed when they speak out, and having a parent or a carer who continues to support them. Therapy and services for children who have been sexually abused vary around the world, with some having excellent services to others having nothing. Some places are better served than others. If specialist therapy is not available, there may be other support services that can help. You can even go through, and this is one of the reasons why we're setting this whole service up. So it is a means to help. But so long as you know that this is an important area that you need to talk about, okay? You can contact us if there's no support or information about the services that are available in your area, and we will try and help. When your child is able to attend therapy, be aware it may take months to reach a point where you are able to see that it is helping. Some children go through it very, very quickly. Some children heal very, very quickly. Some children, it takes ages for them to reach the stage to feel comfortable in talking about it. And from a therapist's point of view, that we need to gain their trust. And because they feel that nobody is there to support them, they feel like they're on their own. And so we have to overcome that barrier and develop that trust in the child. And then only then will the child then start to talk to us. And then we can get to the stage where it is that we can actually help them. They still may not want to talk about what has happened to them with you. But when and if they do, please be ready to listen and be supportive. So the next question is, what should I tell other people? Your other children and family members may want to know what has happened. You need to think carefully about what you tell them, depending on their levels of maturity and relationships within the family. Many are not mature enough to handle it, so please tread carefully here. Many lose it completely, and many don't know how to manage it. That's why information like that's coming and emanating from this side is so important, okay? They will want to hear the story from you before they hear it anywhere else. You will need to talk to the child who has been abused to find out what they feel, and please respect what they feel, and what they want you to tell the rest of the family. You might find it useful to talk to a professional to plan what you may say and when before you tell other members of the family. Sometimes other people can be judgmental, either about how it happened or about your actions on discovering the events. Others may be unaware of what to say and afraid of upsetting you. Sometimes this can result in family members and friends withdrawing or becoming critical. If you experience this, remember that you have done the right thing by reporting the abuse. Most important thing is not what others think or how they react, but that you have protected your child, that you have gained the trust in your child. This is really, really important. Your child is at that stage the most important person in your life. Other family members and friends, they can always, and those situations can always be healed at a later stage. But at this stage, your child needs you desperately. You may find it useful to contact some of the groups that help victims of child sexual abuse and their families listed on some websites about child support services. Again, this is from Terry. My daughter is much happier now and more confident. She has made loads of friends and wants to go back to school. She's more like the person she was when she was a baby, and the signs that there was something wrong with her has all gone, but she wouldn't tell me about it. Now they are slowly, gradually going away. Will my child go on to abuse children? This can be a worry for parents, but in most cases, children who have been sexually abused do not go on to become abusers themselves unless the sexual abuse carried on into adulthood. By recognizing and stopping the abuse and getting the right support for your child, you can help them grow to have healthy relationships in the future and to pass on their experience to prevent this from spreading. This is where knowledge becomes so important. This is where sites like this become so important. This is why it's important for you to please share this information to others. Let them read it. Let them listen to it. Let them see. Okay, the more knowledge you spread around about the subject, the less it is likely to happen. Or otherwise, intervention can happen early on in a child's life. The next section. What if my child does display harmful sexual behavior? Occasionally, children display harmful sexual behavior towards other children. This can be the case whether they have been sexually abused themselves or not. If this is a worry you have about your child, again, seek professional help. The child care services, along with mental health services and voluntary organizations, etc., are there to offer programs and treatment programs for these young people. The next section. Will my family be broken up? When you report the abuse, the first consideration will be for the safety and welfare of your child and any other children in your household. This will mean ensuring the abuser is kept away from your children. Removing the abuser is your priority. It's number one priority. Get them the hell out of it. Okay? If you cannot keep your children safe from contact with the abuser, it may be necessary for you to find alternative place for them to stay. Your child will need you to provide reassurance, comfort, and normality. Wherever possible, going about everyday routines will help you and your child to cope. Often, economics is a major problem. Try and find another way to solve this. The next section. How do I keep my child safe from further sexual abuse? Re-establishing ways of talking to your child about sex can help your child understand about his or her body and about what is sexually healthy. Talking about this may be difficult at first, but it can play an important part in protecting your child against abuse and developing your relationship with your child. For example, your child needs to understand about private parts of their body, what is appropriate touching and what is not, and when is it appropriate and when is it not. And if they're uncomfortable about it not happening, it's their right to say no. There are, of course, if your child is very young, there are storybooks that can help you talk to your child about sexual abuse. Okay, please get them, read them to your children. go through the pictures, talk to them about it, and gently introduce the complex subjects on there. Again, there are many websites around, particularly a lot in the UK, Ireland, Europe also, and even in the US. There are many good quality and websites that can help. Keep your child safe when they are online. This is important. Okay? Social media today has become a major predator ground for the child trafficking, and lots of it is done through online. Okay? Or even using mobile phones. For advice and guidance on how to protect your children using the digital networks, go to your computer security section and set up access rights. You can also do this on most media devices such as Netflix, etc. Make sure that your child knows that they have the right to refuse to do anything that they feel is wrong or that frightens them. Stress that they should not hesitate to tell you or another trusted adult if something happens that they don't like or they feel uncomfortable about. Maintaining a trusting and open relationship with your children is going to help you all look forward and move forward as a family. Again, this is a story from Hannah. Starting therapy and beginning the process to move on can be really difficult. My mum and dad were both extremely supportive of me and took me and collected me from my sessions, which was really important, as sometimes it was very, very distressing. Just knowing that they were going to be there for a cuddle and not ask questions was very special and reassuring. And all that this child wants to know is that mom and dad can be there and are there to support them. Okay, and this is what Hannah said. And with that, I'd like to thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for this. I know it has been a long video, but thank you for taking the time to listen all the way through to the end. With much love and gratitude. Thank you. Goodbye.